So yesterday I had this dream. It was really weird. So I was walking with my family and we were walking by some water with some railings and I was seeing shad bust everywhere. And the dream was me trying to get back to my car and get the bait that I needed. Struggle in the dream was trying to get to the car to get the bait tied on because I was all fiddly fingered and couldn't get it done. And by the time I got back, the fish were gone and there was nothing left to catch. And that was my dream. I don't know. It was just weird. But the bait that I was dreaming about was the Rapala Rippin wrap. Rapala, you're in my head. So let's talk about winter baits, rattle traps, and blade baits. I recently got into a panic the other day because I went fishing and it was pretty cold and I wanted to pull out like a rattle trap type bait. And my favorite type of rattle trap wasn't there, and it was the Rippin wrap. I used to have some of these really micro-sized Rippin wraps for BFS fishing, which they work great. And I got some that are a little bigger so I can cast them on a casting rod. And I like the 05 size. 06 and 07 are probably more suited for larger lakes, but the 05 is good for my pond fishing and the smaller waterways that I get into. And the hooks seem to be just strong enough to hold on to some of these 3, 4, 5 pounders, which is about as big as my fish are going to get. The thing I like about the Rapala Rippin wrap is it's got a very tight movement. It's got really sticky hooks, and the color, the paint job, the quality, everything seems to be great. And they're pretty reasonably priced. I think under $7, somewhere between $5 and $7, you can find them on sale. And I like to cover the colors that go anywhere from like the red to maybe the white color would be a perch, which would be this one. And then I have a shad one that has some blue on the back and yellow down the middle. I don't have it in this grouping. And then the other one is I just like something with either a chartreuse or yellow just to wake them up sometimes when they don't see it. But anyway, the way this thing looks, I'll pull this one out. But this is it. It's got a very bluegill teardrop shape to it. It's got, I think, a number 10 on the back and a number 8 in the front. I think that's how they work. 10 is smaller. It comes already preloaded with a split ring that you tie to. Gives the action a little bit more wobble and finesse. And yeah, like the only thing I ever do to these is sometimes if I get snagged or if I get into a big fish, I might bend a hook, so I'll replace hooks. But really, these hooks right out of the box are very good. I wouldn't change anything, just use them and cast them. Let me give you a close-up. Yeah, this is how it looks. It's a really good paint job. I think it's just a plastic body. It has raised eyes, has a little scoop in the nose. This one has some orange. I like that detail of orange on all these baits, especially in the winter. And the one thing I like about this bait, like if you have a rattle trap, a one knocker, or a Rippin wrap, you're going to notice that they make different sounds. This one has a very tight and shimmery type BB sound because I think there's 5, 6, 7 BBs in there. You know, they use it for weighting and for sound. That tends to be the sound that the fish that I fish for like a lot. I use the rattle trap and the one knocker, but they don't seem to be as productive as these. Just try it out, try different things and see if you can find one that works better than the others. But yeah, that's the real short and skinny on the Rapala Rippin wrap. It's pretty solid bait. It's pretty affordable. And I don't think you need every color under the rainbow, but I think, you know, your whites, your reds, and your shad color will be fine. Maybe throw in a chartreuse for a little extra pizzazz, and that should do you. Now let's talk about blade baits. Blade baits is something that I don't use very much. 2 reasons. Usually you use these in the winter or when it's colder, and I don't fish very much when it's cold because I'm a wimp. But when I do get out, sometimes I'll get restless and I'll get out there and it'll be, you know, 30, 35 degrees. The water temps are 37, 40, 42. These are really good baits for cold water. You can jig these straight up and down, but these I think are made more for casting. And I used 3/8 ounce size because that casts better on a bait caster. If you want to go with a spinning rod, you could get down to the 1/4 ounce size, which might be a little bit more finesse and attract, you know, a wider variety of fish size. But the 3/8 I find is fine. I bought a 1/4 just to have it. Blade baits are one of those things where you can go on Amazon, and I'll link below. You can get on Amazon and buy some very inexpensive blade baits for $1, $2. And I would say maybe try that first to even see if you want to fish them. What you do is you cast these things out there. They kind of wobble and sit down on the bottom. And the way you're supposed to fish them is you just kind of lift off the bottom and it'll shimmer its way up and do its thing. And then you let it fall and it kind of falls and stumbles back down. And it looks like a dying fish, like a fish trying to swim and falling. And it's very irresistible. And you can fish the Rapala Rippin Wrap the same way. I call it the yo-yo. So just think of like, you know, when you're yo-yoing and you let it go down and up, you do that with this bait, you know, and you try different speeds. You might go, you know, pull, reel up, pull, reel to slack, pull, reel to slack. That's kind of fast. Or you might just go pull and let it go, 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 and fall all the way back down to the bottom. Or you might do long pulls to get it way up in the water column. All different ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. You'll figure it out. As soon as you start catching fish, you'll start patterning what you did before to do more. So just do that. Anyway, let's take a quick look. This is the Mega Bass, and these are the $8, $9 variety blade baits. You can get blade baits for $1 or $2, so don't freak out. I like a little better paint job and better hardware. And I do this for the YouTube channel too, so I don't want to just get a bunch of junk and show you guys bad stuff. So here is the Mega Bass. It's a very high quality build. And this is the Mega Bass. This is in a craw color. I like the smoke around the eyes, very good cut detail. The hooks seem to be very good and sticky, and they've got great hardware. So I think you're going to have a high success rate and a low failure on hardware when it comes to this kind of bait. The other thing I like about this bait is they do a little sparkly tail on the back. And that gives you just a little bit of that extra. You know, you never know when you need that. So this is the Mega Bass. I kind of covered color. So I went with the shad, craw, and then kind of silver minnow. And then I got 2 of the jackals just to be different and get different type of baits. And these are the shad color and the bluegill color. So let's pull this bluegill dad out. So this bluegill one here, these are a little bit different. This is called the Keyburn, and it's 3/8 ounce. Now this is, I think, a circuit board body. So I think it's plastic with the weight here front loaded. So that might give it a little different action. Definitely high quality build, you can tell. Weird thing to me is they have these like frog hook type things on here. Those are those 2-way hooks, and they split, and there's no split ring. So I'm a little curious as to how hookup goes with that, and if you can pin fish successfully. But I imagine if they're building it this way, it probably works. This is a really nice looking bait. The quality and the fit and the finish is awesome. Now, if you find that you don't like those hooks, I'm sure you could put on some split rings and some proper trebles. And I use the word proper. Doesn't mean that it's improper to use anything else. But I will say that these are funky. These almost feel like a little, like when you buy those Chinese lures with these little tiny hooks. It freaks me out. We'll see. I'll try it just like it is, see how it works. But as you can see on this lineup, I went with kind of a chartreuse loud color. I went with the craw color. I went with kind of like just silver minnow IU color. I went with the shad, and I went with bluegill. These are really all the colors of fish and varieties that I'm going to run into in my waterway. So I'm covered with blade baits. Plus I have my 5 or 6 cheap ones. So what I would say is when you're out there fishing and you got a real scuzzy pond bottom and you're running into a lot of snags and sticks and things like that, maybe throw your cheap ones out there. But if you got a nice rocky base and you can get a nice clear cast and get these things working for you, just go out there and rip them, see what they'll do for you. You can reel these blade baits in steady and just reel them in like a rattle trap. I think you're probably going to have better luck yo-yoing them. Okay, so that's my rundown on blade baits and Rapala Rippin Wrap. I just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hope everybody's having a good week. And for those of you who can fish, awesome for you, man. It's been really cold here. I'm not going to be doing a lot of fishing, but I will be doing a lot of video watching. So hopefully you guys are watching mine, subscribing to mine, and liking my videos. So let me know what videos you'd like to see or anything you'd like me to cover. Tight lines. Take care. Peace. Be safe. See ya.